ZOONOMALY is a short horror game in the action puzzle genre, published by Reup LLC on March 7th, playing as a new employee of the Paranormal Investigations and Resolution Organization's Keepers of Blue Water, or KOB for short. Under the leadership of Alice Enterman, you are sent to the fictional Alvarado Zoo, a place currently overrun by creatures from Blue Water dimensions, seeking to return them to their place of origin. To accomplish these missions, you must find 20 pieces of keys scattered throughout the zoo and assemble them to create a complete key that unlocks the door leading to the source of all troubles. Of course, this task is far from easy, as Alvarado is constructed like an expansive maze with highly intricate architectures and various different areas. Accompanying you is the Bloom of Bang gun provided by KOB, which emits a powerful light to temporarily stun and repel the monster. The gun is equipped with a Bloom spectrum screen that acts as a thermal sensing radar, allowing you to detect things related to the Bloom Water's monster, including the 20 lost key pieces. As you venture into the zoo, you'll find that Alvarado has been transformed into ZOONOMALY and come face to face with the Bloom Water creatures, referred to as blooms, as they aggressively pursue you. The missions will not be easy as they are everywhere, with various species and farms, but with the help of KOB's advanced devices, you manage to collect 20 keys pieces and unlock the gate leading to an underground chamber. In the center of the chamber lies the gigantic Bloom machine, and your task is to disconnect it while being attacked by a giant Bloom cat. After completing these challenging missions, all blooms present in the zoo disappear, and a cutscene appears, indicating that you have successfully completed the missions, and the game concludes at this point. That's all that happened in ZOONOMALY. Despite having a playtime of about 1 hour, the game itself doesn't include any dialogues or clues revealing additional information about the storyline. So let's delve deeper into the small detail with Mark to see what really happened in ZOONOMALY. Firstly, the organization's Keepers of Blue Water, where the main character was. At first glance, we only know that this place is under the management of someone named Alice Enterman, specializing in investigating and dealing with supernatural phenomena. Mission code 3117 shows that this is a long-standing organization, experienced in handling many similar cases. Looking at the top left corner of the mission summary sheet, we'll see the logo of the organization in the shape of a flower, matching the shape of the Bloom of Bang gun and the Bloom machine in the game. More importantly, the specific names mentioned in the game, such as Keepers of Blue Water, Bloom of Bang gun, Bloom Water Dimensions, and Bloom Machines, all contain the word Bloom, indicating that all 4 of these have a close relationship. Furthermore, the term bloom or to bloom used to refer the phenomenon of flowers opening up, just like how the Bloom machine operates and the Bloom or Bang gun seen in the game. Moreover, the light emitted by the Bloom or Bang gun is green, similar to the color of blooms on the device screen and the scattered key pieces on the map. All of this leads us to the most supported hypothesis that ZOONOMALY is actually a conspiracy and the KOB organizations is behind it all. However, Mark doesn't fully agree with this hypothesis. First of all, it cannot be denied that the KOB organizations is closely related to the Bloom machine that caused everything in the game. Because if this were just an unexpected supernatural event, the organization could have known the weaknesses of the Bloom and created weapons to counter them so quickly. Moreover, at the beginning of the game, KOB only mentioned that the bloom come from the blue mortar dimension without mentioning the existence of the blue machine. But in the mission's briefing, they instructed the main character to find 20 key pieces to assess the hidden locations of the machines and deactivate it. Next, let's focus on the name of the organizations: Keepers of Blue Mortar or Guardians of Blue Mortar. It may not seem special at first, but if you pay attention, you will notice that Blue Mortar is the homeland of the monster appearing in the game. It seems that there's no need for any hypothesis because the name of the organizations itself tells the whole story. The blooms, the monsters supposedly coming from another dimensions, are actually the experimental products of the KOB organizations. The content of these experiments is to create biological weapons from animals that we see in the game, which is why the shapes of the blooms bear many characteristics of the earth animal, such as fish, cats, monkeys, giraffes, lizards, or even humans. Since they're the creatures of those creatures, KOB obviously knows their weaknesses and how to control them, hence the bloom of Bangan since in the game was created. However, this gun only temporarily repels and stuns the blooms rather than completely destroy them. There are two hypotheses that Mob proposes for this. The first hypothesis is that KOB has a way to completely eliminate the blooms, but did not disclose it to the main character for the purpose of injuring the safety of the creatures. So the question arises here, why would they do that? Based on the details shown in the game, the fan community believes that the ZOONOMALY event that the main character is in charge of is actually just an employee test designed by the KOB organizations to find the right persons for the vacant positions. The evidence that is at the beginning of the game, where the main characters played by us is referred to as a rookie, indicating that this is our first mission. And think about it, it's really strange for an experienced organization like KOB to send a newcomer to handle such a serious matter. The traps within the game are organized, showing that everything is pre-planned. The reason the organization assigned this task is simply to test whether we are suitable for the current role or not, which is why they don't want the monster to be harmed during the test. At this point, you must be wondering, what if the player fails or dies during the test? Well, I think nothing will happen here at all, because KOB doesn't care whether you live or not. If you survive, it's like they have a potential employee, but if you die in the jaws of the blooms, it's considered as a failure and the organization doesn't lose anything. Another similar hypothesis is that this is an experiment created by the KOB organizations to test the bloom ability to attack humans, and unfortunately, we are tricked into becoming their test subjects. This explains why only we appear inside the zoo as well as the complex architectures of this place. It reminds me of the employee hierarchies of the fictional SCP organizations, and I think KOB also took inspiration from these famous organizations for the most part. In another scenario, I believe that KOB truly doesn't know how to eliminate the blooms, so they can only use the bloom of Bang to temporarily control them. This leads us to my hypothesis that the ZOONOMALY incident is not an intentional act by KOB but rather the result of another mysterious agent. In the mission's briefing at the beginning of the game, KOB mentioned that there was a mysterious figure who has split the key into 20 pieces and scattered them throughout the park. This detail is reiterated when you reach the blue machine. There's a note placed nearby, and its owner states that he knew for sure KOB would send you to prevent him from creating a sanctuary for his children. Through this, we can infer that he is the owner of the Twittest test seen when you first enter the zoo, the one truly behind everything, and has a very close relationship with the KOB organizations. It's likely that this individual was once a former employee of KOB but was expelled for some reason. Referring to the blooms and his children indicate that his previous job within the organizations involved experimenting and creating them. From there, we have a hypothesis. The KOB organizations on the surface investigate supernatural phenomena, but in reality, they search and develop biological weapons called blooms. The creator of the experiments, a scientist I'll refer to as him, was expelled from the KOB organizations for some reason. With a deranged mindset, he couldn't accept the fact that his children were viewed as tools by the KOB organizations, or perhaps he harbored resentment towards humanity. Therefore, he planned to build a home for his children, and the Everell Zoo was his target. Through some means, he successfully occupied the zoo, constructed a base there, and named it ZOONOMALY, combining zoo and anomaly, meaning a strange or anomalous zoo. The bloom machine placed in the basement is his new invention, designed to transport bloom from within the KOB organization to the zoo. It functions as an energy emitter, allowing the blooms to exist here. Once the machine is turned off, it will cease functioning, leading to the disappearance of the deformed creatures, because they lack the energy to maintain their physical form. This explains why, after the game ends, KOB mentioned that they would come to retrieve the machine for further research, as they also don't know how this new device operates. And then there's us. Personally, I don't think we're newcomers, because based on the notes left by him at the end of the game, it can be seen that he not only knows about the organizations, but also knows about us. It's likely that we were acquainted, maybe even former colleagues of the mysterious figure. Because of this, KOB has to erase our memory before signing the missions, to prevent us from being manipulated by other persons and betraying the organizations. The reason of the organization decided to choose us instead of anyone else, and didn't send additional help, is probably because we were once outstanding employees of KOBs, and only we can capable of taking up the difficult task. In the final part of the game, the mysterious figure mentioned that he would return, but in different locations, indicating that ZOONOMALY series is not yet finished, and there's still many mysteries waiting for us to continue exploring in the future. But before ending this video, let me tell you some interesting facts about this game. Firstly, all the monsters appearing within the game were previously featured in the short videos on the Lights Are Off channel. Lights Are Off itself is not actually a professional game developer, but a TikToker with over 22 million followers specializing in creating short horror videos. Among the famous creatures that have appeared on the Lights Are Off channel, Smile Cat is the most renowned, and is also the creature that helped build the guy's reputations. That's why these creatures had such a prominent role in the game. Secondly, there's a bloom creature resembling the zoo employee you encountered at the beginning of the game. Personally, I don't think these creatures had any significant meaning in the storyline. It's simply there as a zoo gore, right? Lights Are Off likely created this bloom creature to make the place resemble a real zoo a bit more. Lastly, not particularly crucial, but quite interesting, is the homeless bloom creatures in the class tank you encounter at the game's outset. The originals of this monster is the blobfish, which lives at the bottom of the sea in temperate zones. The name sounds cute, but this fish was thought the ugliest animal in the world, and is the mascot of the Ugly Animal Reservation Society, UAPS. If you're curious about how ugly a fish can be, I'll leave the picture here for you to see. Actually, when they're underwater, these creatures don't look as scary, but when they're caught and brought to the surface, the sudden change in pressures, light, and air turns them into their current appearance. I'm not sure if flies and Reup included them in matches just for fun, or if there's another hidden meaning behind it. But personally, I think it's the detail meant to imply that the grotesque appearance of the bloom creatures in the game is all caused by humans, not by any supernatural factors. Of course, all of this is just analysis and speculation from my perspective, so it may or may not be accurate. If you have any interesting theories, be sure to leave a comment below to let me know. Don't forget to like, share video if you found it interesting, and click the subscribe button as well as the notification bell to not miss out on our weekly videos.